Let's welcome our extraordinary Matt Desmier to the stage.
All right, I couldn't miss out on the opportunity of that. I clearly sent that précis of my talk before I wrote the talk. I'm aware it's been a wonderful day, it's been a long day, and I'm the last person up here on stage. I am the person keeping you from that back door, so I will try and keep this tight. It'll be short, it might be, it's going to be meandering, I think. I was here 2 years ago, actually. Darko and the team invited me here 2 years ago to talk about the bubble of the metaverse that was rapidly inflating at that time. And 2 years have gone by, and that talk, which was called There's No Such Thing as the Metaverse, seems to have been strangely prescient, actually. I'm not saying that the metaverse and spatial computing doesn't have its uses, particularly within gaming, I suppose, and healthcare, I guess, and design. But in the main, the point of that talk was, in the wise words of Public Enemy, it was don't believe the hype, right? Don't believe the hype, that we've hyped this all up way, way, way too much. So with that, I'm here today to talk about AI. Well, I'm sort of going to talk about AI. I will start talking about AI, and then I'm going to meander off into all kinds of areas. God, AI is magic, right? It's brilliant. It seemingly does the impossible. It makes the impossible happen just there in front of your eyes, as if almost by magic. Except it's not quite magic, is it? Like magicians, actually, we sort of know how it's working. We know what's going on behind the scenes. Complex algorithms, right, taking in vast amounts of data, huge amounts of data, and then they're comparing and contrasting these things much, much better than the human brain could ever do, much quicker and with much more amounts of it, and then they're looking for patterns. That's all they're doing. They're just looking for patterns, and then they're suggesting what might come next. So they have a process to them. It's not quite magic, but it almost appears like magic. And that's sort of what I want to talk about, right? That we've got this guy, the illusionist, Derren Brown, and on TV and on his stage shows, Derren Brown seems to guide the user through a journey, right? They appear to be making decisions all of their own accord, and yet somehow he always seems to know what's going to happen at the end. He always guesses or seems to work out what's happening at the end. Through a showmanship, misdirection, and suggestion, he always arrives or gets them to arrive at the point he wanted them to. He doesn't keep this secret either. He tells us that's exactly what he's doing. We know exactly how he's making these things happen. We know how he's apparently controlling people's minds through showmanship, misdirection, and suggestion. And that's almost what I think's happening now with AI. That we are being told an awful lot through a lot of showmanship, suggestion, and misdirection that AI is this wonderful thing that's going to be doing some incredible things and probably going to put us all out of work at some point or other. That's not actually what I believe is going to happen. This thing. Actually, Magda talked about it a lot just now. You know, it's all about efficiencies. We're told that AI is all about efficiencies, that this wonderful tool that's been created is going to make us quicker and more efficient at stuff. So, you know, we've got Otter AI is now taking all of our notes and saving us time, saving us a lot of time. We've got ChatGPT, which is reading all of the reports they want to need to read, and it's summarizing them, and it's saving us an awful amount of time. You're getting those summary reports, and you put them into Notebook LM, and it's turning them into podcasts. You don't even have to read the things now. It's saving you time so you can listen to them. Midjourney is going to create all of the images you need. Runway is going to create all of the videos you need. It's all saving you time. Wonderful. All this time being saved. What are you doing with all that saved time? I'm assuming, because the cumulative hours and minutes that we're all saving, you're all working 4-day weeks or 3-day weeks because of this vast amount of time you've saved. No? then clearly with all this vast amount of time you save, you've grown your customer base and you have taken on more and more customers. You're investing that time into shit-hot company cultures. You're putting all the time and effort into making the most inclusive, supportive company cultures you've got so that people are queuing out the door to come and work at your place. Recruitment's not an issue. Okay, you're investing that time in coming to places like this to be more informed. You're coming to conferences to become much, much more informed so that you've put all your prices up. With all of this saved time, you've invested it in your knowledge base and you've all put your prices up and company growth has gone through the roof. No? So what is happening with all this saved time? Therein lies the problem, I think. We've been sold something. Actually, Upwork recently did a study, and 96% of CEOs believe that AI is going to drive productivity within their businesses. Understandably so. However, 77% of employees have all stated that putting AI into their businesses has decreased their productivity and added to their workload. The entire opposite of what we've been sold, the dream we've been sold. This is a classic misdirection, right? This is a misdirection worthy of the great David Copperfield. That AI is going to drive productivity when in fact, whilst you're looking over there, it hasn't. What it has done has created incredible value for the companies that are creating these things. Whilst you're investing all of your time and effort and energy and resource into apparently driving more efficiencies and being more productive and enabling you to be more creative, these companies are making a hell of a lot of money. XAI isn't even live. It's in beta, and it's already worth $40 billion. You can't use it. There's a small percentage of people, but it's worth $40 billion. Anthropic, $20 billion. CoreWeave, $19 billion. G42, $19 billion. Anduril, $15 billion. Or the daddy of them all, OpenAI, $157 billion. So whilst you've all been driving efficiencies into your businesses that have yet to earn you more clients, that have yet to make you put your prices up, that have yet to make any positive impact on your business, these guys have made a hell of a lot of money. This is the problem. We're focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to AI. We're trying to change our current business operations when we should be thinking about entirely different business models. These guys are thinking about different business models. You should be thinking about different business models. Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal, the French philosopher and mathematician, was one of the original inventors of the mechanical calculator in the 17th century. The mechanical calculator is clearly the forerunner to Charles Babbage and his analytical machine, which itself was the forerunner to the modern-day computer. So Blaise Pascal in the 17th century, the father of modern computing, potentially. There was another invention that Pascal created, and I think it's got more to do with this idea that I'm putting in front of you today. How actually we think we're playing this game over here for efficiencies, when actually the real business is over here creating something else entirely. Blaise Pascal invented this game. In the 17th century, he invented the roulette wheel. It was probably called something else, and it was meant to be a perpetual motion machine. It soon became a game that they played, and it was odds and evens. It's developed quite a lot since then, and now it's in every casino around the world. The thing with the game of roulette that sets it apart is that little green square. That little green square changes the game entirely. You, as a player, think you're playing a game of chance. You spin the wheel, you send the ball round. It's a singular game of chance. You think you've got a 1 in 36 chance of winning something. The casino, on the other hand, is playing an entirely different game to you, and it's all because of that green square. The casino wants you to play longer, and it wants more of you to play. And because of that green square, they have a 3% to an 8% advantage. The longer you play and the more people who play, the house will always win. It skews the odds massively in their favour. You think you're playing a one-on-one game of chance. They're playing a very calculated, very mathematical game of statistics, and they will always win. They'll always win, in fact, because there's actually 37 slots on a roulette wheel. You'll bet from numbers 1 to 36, but there's 37. So you think you've got a 1 in 36 chance, but actually it's a 1 in 37. So the odds are already in the casino's favour. And actually, if you do win, they'll only pay out 35 times more, not 36. So they're always going to win no matter what you play. They are playing an entirely different game to the one you're playing. And this is what's happening in the world of AI. You think you're playing a game where you're going to be more creative by using these AI tools. You think you're playing a game where you're going to be more efficient and you're going to drive productivity. The guys building it are just reaping in the money. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme run by VCs, and you're the fuel. I'm aware I've made that sound really bad. So let's think about McDonald's. In the 1950s, Ray Kroc stumbled across the McDonald's brothers using spatulas to flip their burgers. Sorry, I had to squeeze the word spatula in. What Ray Kroc saw, though, when he went into McDonald's is the way in which these guys had mechanized the whole thing. They'd created the speedy service system, and it enabled them to create the burgers quicker and more consistently, and so they delivered them quicker as well, so they got to the customer quicker. They always tasted the same. Great tasting American food. So enamored with this that Ray Kroc had got involved. And what they did was, by automating the whole system, by creating a production line in there, they were able, and moving the kitchen around so it was more efficient, they were able to produce food quicker, more consistently, and at a better value than any of their customers. They undercut all of their customers. One restaurant grew to 2 restaurants, grew to 3 restaurants, grew to cover the entirety of the United States, and now they're in every country in the world. 36,000 McDonald's around the world. The really interesting thing, though, was in 1956, come on, Ray Kroc and his then CTO, Harry Sonnenbaum, introduced a revolutionary new business model. They decided that they were going to buy all of the land that McDonald's were built on, they were going to build the restaurants, and then they were going to lease them back to the franchisee. McDonald's from that point became a real estate business and not a fast food business. The guys there at McDonald's were playing a completely different game. They used modern technology in the 50s, lean manufacturing and productivity and efficiency drives to change the nature of the fast food industry. And they actually created an entirely new industry. So from the franchisee's perspective, they're sweating it out, trying to make money on the spot. It's driving the price down. It's forever more competitive. They've got to do more marketing. On the other hand, McDonald's are on the other side of the coin, taking 80% profit from every single restaurant that they lease the land to. They lease the land, they lease the building, the franchisee has to buy their products, they have to sell them at their price, they have to do everything, but McDonald's doesn't do any of it. And they make 80% profit on every single restaurant that they have. They're playing a completely different game. They've invented an entirely new business model. And that's what we really ought to be thinking about doing when it comes to AI. This isn't about how do we drive more efficiency into our business, because that drives the price down. That makes you more competitive. To Magda's point, it disconnects you from your audience. It sends a certain message. What you should be doing is, how can we use AI and create entirely new industries? It's not about whether it's going to take our jobs or not. It's about whether or not we can create entirely new jobs with it. And the longer we focus on the efficiencies, the longer we focus on, isn't it wonderful that ChatGPT will answer any question and I don't have to look it up? Isn't it wonderful that I don't have to make a podcast anymore? Notebook LM will do it for me. As long as you're doing that, you're focusing on the wrong things. And this is because we are the accumulation of all our experiences, our learned experience. It's not so easy to just dream up new business models. We have very specific perspectives on the world. Our view of the world and our ability to vision something in the future is based entirely on the experiences we've had up to that date, the things we've heard, the things we've learned, the things we've been told. That dictates what we're going to think about going forward. In the 1940s, Thomas Watson arguably knew more about computers than any other guy on the planet. This is the guy, he was the CEO of IBM. He was more informed about the potential for what computers would be able to do in the future than anybody else. So it beggars belief that this phrase is attributed to him. That from his perspective and the business model that IBM were using, he could only ever see a world where 5 computers existed. That was because IBM built a certain type of machine that did a certain type of job to a certain type of client. They knew that industry inside out. That was where it was going to go. What he didn't do, because he didn't have the forethought, he didn't think about the internet, he didn't imagine the internet, he didn't imagine artificial intelligence. He didn't imagine social media or LinkedIn. He didn't imagine influencers. He didn't imagine digital marketing, search engines or search engine optimization. None of that stuff came into his field of vision. He was very myopic in his view because what he knew and what he understood limited his ability to see beyond the narrow path he was on. Same as is happening right now when we think about how do I apply ChatGPT to my business? How do I use Midjourney to make my creatives better? How do I use code to use artificial intelligence to write the code? You're just trying to replace the thing you're already doing when you should be trying to think of something entirely new. Horace Rackham. Horace Rackham was a lawyer. He was also a good friend of Henry Ford. And Henry Ford was looking for some investment in the Model T Ford. So Horace went to see his bank manager, and his bank manager said this. His bank manager advised him not to invest in the Ford Motor Company. Now, his bank manager said that because as far as he was concerned, the horse was a really good tool. Everybody had one. They were easy to maintain. They went over all kinds of landscape. What he couldn't imagine was gas stations, mechanics, Formula One, Formula E. He couldn't imagine completely reinventing the infrastructure of a country, let alone the world. He couldn't imagine entirely new industries like car loans, car insurance, anything and everything that sits around a car. He could only see, we just don't need faster horses. This thing's a fad. Someone's got to walk in front of it waving a flag. It's a toy. He was unable to see the new industries that were going to be created. And once again, I think that's where we're going wrong with AI. We keep trying to apply it to the world we're currently living in, when actually we should be trying to think about how can I change my business model? How can I use it to add something of value, not drive the price down, not drive the efficiencies down? How can I create something entirely new? In the late 1970s, bookkeeping was an essential function. Couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't have a business without a bookkeeper. And then someone invented VisiCalc, spreadsheets. Once spreadsheet technology was invented, bookkeeping became about being more efficient. We can use spreadsheets for the bookkeepers to be more efficient. What that meant was bookkeeping became a much more competitive job. It became a much more efficient job. It drove the price down. But what also happened was entire new industries emerged. Management accountants, management analysts did not exist in anyone's wildest imagination, thank God, before the invention of spreadsheets. What someone somewhere did was go, here's this great new technology. I can either drive down the price of what I'm already doing, or I can use it in an entirely new, unforeseen way and create something of real value that I can sell at a much, much higher premium than I'm already doing. And right now, we're using AI to drive down the price of the work we're already doing. We're using AI to create a disconnect with our customers. We are being sold a vision by these AI magicians whilst they are pocketing all of the results of the work you're putting in. Their price is going through the roof. You're not getting any more clients. You're not charging any more, and you're not working 3-day weeks. Something's going wrong. But back to cars. Google is a search engine company. And I've got a theory about this. This might not be fact, but it makes sense to me, right? Why are Google, a search engine company, investing super heavily in AI technology and trying to develop autonomous vehicles? In fact, when I say trying to develop, I've been in one in San Francisco. I've been in a Waymo. It's the weirdest experience you will ever encounter. Driving around the streets of San Francisco with no one driving the car. But why are Google doing that? Here's what I think. Autonomous vehicles are going to be so phenomenally expensive, beyond the wildest dreams of anyone, right? The kit that goes into them to make them safe, the software development that's gone into building an autonomous vehicle means they're going to be super expensive. The hardware that goes into an autonomous vehicle is super expensive. So to buy one of these things is out of most people's price range, let alone trying to insure it. Imagine trying to insure a car that's just going to drive around of its own accord, that you're apparently letting do all of the driving on your part. But then imagine Alphabet, Google's parent company, is the 4th richest company in the world. They have got about $4 trillion. That's how much they're worth, right? They've got more money than most civilized nations in the world. So imagine if they just said, well, we'll loan you the money. We'll loan you the money to buy a car back off us. And then we'll loan you the money, we'll bundle it all in with your car insurance, and we'll insure that car that you've bought. You're going to borrow the money from us, and we'll charge you interest on that. For you to buy a car from us, so you're just giving us the money straight back. And then we're going to sell you the insurance, but we know so much data on you. We know your shopping habits. We know your weird proclivities from your search engine history. We know every little thing there is to know about you, that our dynamic pricing on what that insurance can be is ours to manage at all. They're effectively going to build a closed ecosystem, not dissimilar to Apple and iTunes, where they own it all and you are locked in. They are going to create, I believe, an entirely new industry that sits outside of anything we've thought of here today. It's got nothing to do with efficiencies. This is just about how can we use this new technology to create an entirely new business and an entirely new business model and a bunch of new jobs that are going to go with that. You lot can worry over there about whether or not you're writing human content or not. We're going to build autonomous vehicles and run it with using the money that you've given us by investing in all of our AI technology. That's brilliant if it happens. I'm sure it'll happen. It's bound to happen. But the point is, there is an entirely new business model, and it's all around AI. So the more we focus on efficiencies, the more we are missing a trick. We have the opportunity right here in front of us to entirely change your business model. If you're using AI, what new products and services can you offer that no one else can offer? What new markets can you enter now that you've got access to this AI that no one else is in? What new jobs can you create because you understand it? So when you hear about, it's not about the person who uses AI. It's not that AI is going to take your job. It's the person who knows how to use AI is going to take your job. No, that's rubbish. I mean, it might happen. But the real opportunity is creating entirely new jobs from AI. So whilst the AI magicians and our AI overlords are causing us all this misdirection over here, going, yeah, use chat, yeah, go look, it creates a podcast all of its own. Actually, that podcast at the beginning, All About Me, was pretty good. It creates all of these images. So seriously, I can get this picture and I can squish it like it was some silly putty. That's fantastic. Whilst the AI overlords are making you do that stuff, they're just generating bucket loads of cash. And what you really ought to be doing is not how can I use AI to make my content better, it's how can I use AI to create something entirely different that no one's ever thought of. I want to leave you with this. This Buckminster Fuller, he's an American architect, designer, and philosopher. In 1927, he lost his job. About 4 years earlier, he and his wife had lost their first child. He was drinking heavily. With the promise of another child on the way, he went to the edge of Lake Michigan and he was about to walk into Lake Michigan and he figured actually his life was worth more with the insurance money that his family could take. When he had an epiphany, thank God. He had an epiphany and the thing was he was going to make his life into one big experiment. How much positive impact can one individual have on humanity? And with that, he came up with this. You can never change things by fighting against the existing reality. Here it comes, wait for it. Just not. To change something, you have to build a new model that makes the old thing obsolete. The existing thing obsolete. Just build an entirely new model. Just don't even think about fighting against what's happening. Do something new. Dare to think. I dare you to think. Thank you very much.